Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's Alicia Brasher here at Cosmic Gateway, and I am joined by the one and only Miss Katie Jane from Vibro Sound. Um,
Hello.
so glad to have this connection and conversation with you. And honestly don't even know where we're going to go. Um, so I guess a little bit of background. Katie and I have been working in the background, working on a lot of collaborations and a lot of projects. So we thought we would sit down and do this recording and talk a little bit about what we've been up to, what's going on, the cool fusion of different types of energy work and how that correlates and help people work through what a lot of people are going through right now, which is some really hard, really murky stuff. Um, so, and to be completely honest and transparent, like 5 minutes before this recording, I was just uncovering something really at the depth of my soul that's not yet fully, healed and resolved. And I think that's a good point to start because these things can creep up on us so unassumingly, unexpectedly. We can be having a high vibe day, and the next thing we're tapping into an aspect of our multidimensionality where there's a trauma from a different time or a different civilization that can come up and just completely knock the wind out of us. And it's unpacking that. And, I think without a level of support and expertise and just own knowing, that can, like, I just think about the average everyday person and what they might be going through when I look back at my own journey and realize that, during some of those dark nights of the soul, the amount of things that were coming up that weren't just correlating to my human now everyday existence, that was ancestral healing, that, there's such a fusion of things that come through when we're processing at such a fast rate. And I know that you've just come out of your little upgrading, we'll call it an upgrading session.
It's a
But
nice way to frame it.
you want to talk a little bit about what that was like for you?
I think what you said is really true. If you don't have like a framework and support, I think like definitely something, I think we spoke about yesterday, the thing that perhaps was a triggering aspect for I feel like in the last 2 weeks, I've just been in a really deep state of uncovering things, but they didn't fully rise to the surface. So there was nothing that I could be like, oh, I'm feeling weird because of this. It was just like kind of layer on layer on layer. I admit I've been also really ambitious with where I want my growth to go. So like I think half the time I just put shit in my own way to just I think I just like chose to rapidly uncover things really fast without any kind of downtime. But I would say like it started with when so Alicia and you and I are doing revamping your chakra meditations.
Oh,
Is that
that's
you?
right. That's where
That's
it all
where it
started.
started for me. That's where it started for me because you told me this story about base chakra. Someone did the session, you did it in an alignment, and then they had this wild experience. And then I was like, okay, let's revamp these meditations. I'll edit them and then put music to it. So I think like it all started when I went into the base. And like I don't think like no matter how much healing you think that you've done, you ain't done.
Right.
You just ain't done. So like I think it literally started 2 weeks ago when we started recording these meditations. So like the base brought up so much stuff, financial security. Something weird happened, didn't it? I like something about finances came up, but it wasn't the positive sense. It was all being mirrored back to me, all of my like what I tried for my sessions or like my self-worth or my grounding. And then we recorded the sacral, and that was just like an explosive emotional overload. And then the solar. So I don't even know what I've been doing in the past 2 weeks, but something shifted on the 28th, which
Yes.
was 2 days ago. two
Yeah.
days ago. So yeah, now I feel, and I had some sessions with Jen, Light Language Jen, shout out. that was really, really, really powerful, because I think when you're in that lower state and you're going through it, I felt really detached from my like soul family, and especially like being, I'm not necessarily in lockdown, but I spend so much time alone. So I think like reconnecting with the higher consciousness was really profound. And also, what's really been helping me in terms of tools is revamping your other meditations that you've been doing. I've been working on, you sent me like, Alicia sent me like 20 meditations and was like, hey, can you just edit these? And I was listening to them, and there's so much like this funny sounds in the background. So in editing those, it's been really transformative to be able to connect with each of those. They're not meditations, Alicia. They're like, I was saying to you yesterday, it's like you can do a guided meditation on YouTube and you can connect to it and you can shift. I think you can shift to the level that they're offering you. But I really feel like your meditations are a portal open, because I feel like you open the space and I feel like you flood the energy and I feel like you come with me, or some forces are there. So like I did the, yeah, you've done like a New Earth one, a original blueprint meditation, the Osiris one, meeting your cosmic family. So I think really you started the process with the energy sessions, and now I've come full circle and I really feel complete. Like I feel like my transformation for this realm is complete. And it's also my birthday in 2 days and I'm entering a year one cycle. So the
Yes.
last, as we were talking on the phone today, the last 9 years of my life has been, I forgot, they were really, really like hectic. So I think like maybe lots of other people too are going through a really deep, not saying that everyone's about to enter a year one cycle, but yeah, I guess what I'm saying is it's
There's a
been
feeling
heavy.
there's a
And
feeling
the
of reset, in general sense of the term. And what I observe is when I always say, as you're entering into a new cycle, that closing of the old cycle, everything comes up for reevaluation and coming at it from another level, like another like you were saying, like
I feel like this one's been really ancient. I don't think that this has been like my human self life. So I think that it's been really ancient what I've been going through. And like I feel lucky enough to have the ability to understand that on like that I feel like now my psychic channels are opening more and I can understand where that's coming from. But it definitely, there's a lot of, I feel like I have my finger in all the pies, that, and it's like the topic and then you're going through all of the layers and clearing from so many multidimensional facets.
Yeah, it really is. And you know what? It was so nice because we had like a good hour or so chat today on the phone, because I know, I've known you for a couple of years now, but we've sort of known each other in the space that we're at.
The
And
well space.
yeah, the wells.
The good human, good light worker space.
And we were just saying like how, not that you never forget. It's always an aspect that is a part of you. But as you go through those layers of healing, you come into a new space, a new energy embodiment. And it's almost like the makings of that doesn't really enter into your day-to-day living. And we sort of had a trip down memory lane today, sort of sharing stories and comparative like wild journeys that we've been on over the past decade or more. And there's a lot of correlations, and there's a lot of humor in the crazy stuff that we got up to in our younger days. And I
Forgot.
I forgot to. And I think that's like, it brings a level of realness and rawness. And you know um yeah, we're really privileged in what the work that we do now, and the capacity that we can work in our various modalities and assist people through ascension and their spiritual evolution. But it comes from very humble beginnings, um, very tragic circumstances and very unsavory situations.
Mm.
And it really is. And I think to share this, it doesn't matter where you're at in your journey right now. that all happens for a reason.
Mm.
Um, and it
And
kind
as
of
dark as the path looks, it works out in the weirdest ways. Like I think about what my mindset was 5 years ago, and like the lesson of being able to like see where you're at in the present and see where you have come from. I think when you're on an accelerated ascension journey, there's so much to learn and so much to remember and integrate that I literally felt like I was just throwing away the old selves, being like, okay, done with that lesson, and then like obtaining more, obtaining more, obtaining more. But I think like in the integration, a really big aspect is like perspective and being able to be like, holy crap, that was me 5 years ago. Because that's not a perspective that's it being entrained into my mind because I'm such a forward. Because I feel like on a soul level, I know the potentiality of what I can express from my soul's level. I'm like, well, why would I go and remember what I was doing 3 years ago? That was unimportant. But I really don't have a space to consciously, with friends or with people, to reflect on the journey of like, whoa, you fully did that, and you could sit down for a month and do nothing and just reflect on that, and that would be good.
I really hope that we do get the opportunity to sit down and write our books this year, because that's going to be
I'll
so.
write yours. I'll touch type it.
It's like, as you unpack, it's like, oh, that happened. And, like I was telling you my crazy story in Egypt, dancing with the knives and, some random party that I got invited to. And I was like, sure, I'll go. And then I was like, where's all the females? I thought this was a wedding. Oh, it's a Bucks night.
Bucks Bunny.
So I'm just going to mesh with the locals and do a knife dance with a massive machete.
To be honest, they probably remembered that you were their queen. Like,
Yeah, I mean, the wild stories I could talk about in what happened in Egypt. What happens in Egypt stays in Egypt for the most part. But, um, yeah, it's like, because I guess the correlation between you and I, we bounced around the world for, a good 10 years, going here, there, and everywhere. And I truly think that that's part of like the reclaiming. I know I've talked about this before, but it's like the reclaiming aspect. I know I wasn't as conscious as what I am now, obviously, when I was going to those certain places, especially Egypt, but I was drawn there like multiple times. And every time I went there, yeah, I'd meet amazing people and have amazing experiences, but I had some very, very profound flashbacks of past lives. And surely on an energetic level, I can see this in hindsight now, but on an energetic level, I was probably clearing karma, I was clearing grids, I was, reclaiming aspects of myself for when that time was to come. And you know what, in this day and age, it's not even necessary that you have to go to those locations. You can do that through guided process and meditation. It's a process that if you feel a call and drive, and I know I've talked to many clients about this that feel, especially over the last 12 months, that they've felt a calling to a certain place. I'm like, connect with that land, connect with those memories, do that through your own. You don't have to leave your house. I mean, yeah, of course it's great to, right? And if you can and have the calling to go to certain locations, there's certain things that can't be done through the bilocation process, but there's so much that can be done non-physically as well.
I feel like our ability to go there as well, maybe it's just me because I've been like really honing in on that, but like I remember my teacher at sound school, Randy, was like, oh, I don't travel to Egypt anymore, I go to meetings, but I bilocate. And I remember being like, that's crazy that you wouldn't just like fly to another like you just. And now I literally don't leave my house, and yet I feel like I go everywhere. Like the space, like we were talking today. Do you want to talk about Ascension Academy?
Yeah, sure, let's talk about
I
it.
feel like we were talking today about like what we wish we had have learned at the beginning of our awakening and what we know now, and the lessons that could have saved a lot of grief. And I feel like a large lesson that I'm really integrating at the moment is, I guess, really embodying non-linear experiences and embodying the non-space reality, and being able to travel and heal timelines and being able to, like today, like meeting with my mum who's crossed over, meeting with aspects of myself, going to the Isis temple, having a healing, like that is such an enriching and powerful gift to know that you can heal a relationship on the astral before you want to do it in the physical. Or you, I don't know, like that just seems to me like such a smarter way to be able to progress, and a faster way, and that we are so powerful to be able to do that and connect with that. And it's actually so easy.
Yeah, it
Like
really
every time
is.
I learn this, I'm like, no, that's not it. Like that can't, no, that's so easy.
So yeah, and so I guess that's what comes through our connection conversations, is the sparking of more and more collaborative processes. And I guess, you know, like like many people, when you go through something and you go through learning in very harsh ways, you develop different tools and techniques that can assist people. Doesn't take away from their lessons. Nothing will ever take you away from your own soul's lesson. But if you can bring energy and consciousness and um, fundamental teachings and practices around that to empower yourself, to empower your own knowledge and wisdom, then it can make the journey more I don't want to say the word easier.
Curious and pleasant and
Yeah,
exciting and
yeah,
detective work.
yeah, detective work. I like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not in any way, shape, or form a formalized thing. It literally just sparked today, but we've in the process of putting together an incredibly comprehensive program where we want to embellish and enmesh everything that we've learned along this journey, um, to help and guide people through that process. And I foresee that that's going to be quite a need coming up into whatever energetic space the collective consciousness is about to move through, you know. And that's quite exciting. So, nothing to kind of share at this point, but keep your eyes and ears peeled.
I literally just saw you with like a little like orange potato peel. My retinas.
um as that will be sort of upcoming, but when I feel into that, it kind of feels like mid-year. um but who knows, at the fast rate that things are moving at this point, who knows. um but another cool thing that we've been working on, and I just sat down and did a recording with Dale H, and we sort of touched on this a little bit, but years ago, I was guided into going into starting a shoe business. The intuitive pull towards that was very strong. I had, several dreams about it, and I knew and I felt that that was the pathway for me. And that brought about some very challenging situations in my life that were completely out of my control. And there were some very, very harsh lessons, because I could see the pathway and the potentiality of it. But what I didn't foresee was all the other things that were about to implode in my life. um, such as loss of job, Kundalini awakening, loss of, partnership, friends, family, money, home, all that. And my guidance kept saying to me at the time, don't worry, it's all going to work out. Don't worry, it's all going to work out. But it was very hard to see it at that time. And I kept getting, there will come a time where all that will come back around in your favor. You've just got to go through it. And that was when I was redirected. And I talked about this a little bit on the video that I did with Dale, which actually will be premiering after this. But anyway, I just realized that. So you can go and watch that in a few nights' time and get the other. And because I had this vision of working with teaching energetics, creating these schools, which has sparked again today, or these, I don't know if you can call them schools, but we'll call it that just for now. There needs to be new terminology around that. Workshops, places where people can come. But it also was very much infused with the idea of conscious products and changing the way consumerism is. And, I had my hand in, jewelry. And the story behind that was that I was very passionate about, I worked in jewelry. I started when I was in high school and I made jewelry. I made silver jewelry. And then that transpired to wanting to source ethically traded jewelry. And the whole motive and drive behind that was because I was completely outraged about blood diamonds. And it was a real passion for me to want to rehabilitate children, soldiers who've been, caught in that trade. It was something that I was very, very passionate about, human trafficking. You can see how it all sort of comes in together. And I sat with that for a really long time because I was like, how can I overthrow this massive this massive injustice in humanity, especially with children? And I sat with it. I was like, well, I could go over there and heal them. That's not going to work. I could, and I'd read so much literature and books around, how deep the trauma goes with those children. And I was like, I could just jump on a plane and, volunteer my time. And I was like, it's not going to make the impact that I want. Like, I want to be to overthrow these drug lords and these, diamond traders. And the idea came to me. It was like, you've got to make something better. You've got to make something that's more desirable. And you have to re-educate people around the fact that, buying blood diamonds is not a good idea. And that was where the idea came to me. It was like, if you can source local jewelry made by local artisans that has energetic property and comes from sacred sites in the world, then the purchase of that and the retrade, the resell of that is going to infuse light and different energies around the world. And it's infusing culture, and it's infusing like ancient knowledge and symbols that represent something that is harmonious to humanity. And that was the idea, that the download that came to me 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And so I was like, that's it, that's what I'm going to do. And, I went, I did that. And, I had that business for a while on the side. I've always sort of had my hand in, some sort of entrepreneurial business, and then doing my energy work whilst working in a corporate job and dealing with dark nights of the soul and, psychic attack. And, so it's been a wild journey. It has been an absolute wild journey. And, so that sort of links in with the shoes, and that's a whole other story. But I kind of got the download that along the way, that it was like, yeah, that was a great idea, but humanity's not quite ready for that. There's such a small percentage of the population that would actually get that concept, and and the same with the shoes. Like I had all these downloads about how shoes are the path in life. They're this vessel that carries us in our alignment. And and I realized that I was missing a crucial piece, and that piece came into play this week, thanks to Dale and thanks to Katie, when I realized that, yeah, it's about people going through and consciously connecting with the purchase. And this extends beyond just, my products. This extends into everything in conscious consumption of what we're, taking in. Are we buying mass production of things from big corporations, or are we buying from smaller, artisans or communities? And I do see a world where, the change in that is well and truly in progress. And so, thanks to Dale for triggering that sort of through his uncovering of the inversion of what shoes have represented. And then I had this idea, and I called Katie and I was like, can we make a track that would accompany people purchasing these shoes, but also giving them an energetic alignment so that they can use their intention into their new pathway which is representative of a new pair of shoes. So together we sat down and we collaborated and we put together a track that will be available, with every purchase of the shoes. And, my bigger vision for that, and call me crazy, but this is just how I see things, is that, every person that purchases, not only are they aligning, more with their source, their higher self, their soul alignment, but as they're doing that, they're infusing more light onto the planet in each step that they take. And there's such beautiful imagery that comes with that, of seeing that sort of positive ripple effect cascading over the planet. And ultimately, that should be infused in everything that we do, whether it's energy work or purchasing,
And
products.
just like making the everyday conscious, like setting the intention, your intentionality of how you want to be when you leave like the house, how you want to be when you meet someone. It's like putting on a certain look of makeup or an outfit because you want to portray this character, but it's like setting an energy and an expression to what you choose to have as your protection of your sacred physicality, and walking around with that expression and intention. And like psychometry, people can feel an object and feel the energy of that. If I'm walking behind someone and I it's like I can feel the like smoke off their body, and if I walk through their energy imprint of that, I can feel and hear all the things that is going on for them. So like if someone's walking around and they have like fully embodied conscious intentionality for the day and for their purpose and for their mission, and they're sowing those seeds, that ain't crazy.
No.
And yes, humanity, that might be a wild concept to like bless your shoes and like walk around with your intentions, but also if more people did it, it'd be a nicer place.
Well, I just think back, and it's like I've always lived like that. Like I would always, look, I can't honestly say that everything that I buy is intention and purposeful, but when it comes to things like shoes and clothing and jewelry and accessories, I always look at the symbology of it, the color of it. What color and frequency is that? I'm wearing green because I want to be in heart-centered space. I've always, that's always been something that's been in my mind, and I just thought that was normal. I thought everyone did that. I would wear this, and I guess that it's a lot more common these days. People will wear certain crystals or things like that for a certain energetic connection, but it's, we can do that through anything, and it's bringing more conscious to every aspect of our life, really. So goodness, to get that out just feels good. Thank you everyone for listening. There's a bit of a backstory, and so I will be putting more, all the shoes are up on the website, so if you feel guided to go and have a look at them, I'll put the link in the description box below. You can go have a look at the different styles available, and of course, with the purchase you'll get that sort of energy. It's very generic. It was designed that way so that you can personalize it for your own intentions and what aligning to, because obviously we all have different pathways, and that's how it should be. It's unique. But I am investing time to sort of put up the remainder of the different jewelry that I have available as well. So it's sort of bringing that in, and the beautiful thing is, for me, it feels like, we're talking about this sort of like closure and cycles and things like that. I always felt that there was a time and place for it all, and that the impatience and the frustration of when it didn't sort of take off in the way that I had thought, or it was because the work that I'm doing now with the energy, like that took precedent. The soul work really takes precedent over anything else, and that's what I've learned along this journey, was that I guess in a way I wanted to put that as, oh, I'll just do that and then I'll do, and how often do we do that, right? Oh, I'll just do this and then, I'll just get this in place and then that, and sometimes it's very reversed, and we've got to do the things that make us the most uncomfortable, because they're going to be the ones that make the biggest impact and the biggest difference. And it doesn't mean that the ideas that you have had in the past, and I want to say this to anyone who's listening that, may have gone through similar frustrations in any capacity, it doesn't mean that it won't come to fruition. There's a timing to it all. And maybe there's something else that's more important that needs to, and that could just be your own inner work, um, because we are an extension, our energy is an extension of who we are and what we create. So it's like, maybe that has to come into alignment first before the next thing will, fall into place. At least that's how I see it.
I so agree. I fully believe that all of the things that I wanted 2 years ago, I'm glad didn't come through, because now I am at a space that when I go to do those things, like I remember I emailed so many people saying, hi, I make this music. I really want to write for film. And then like a month ago, I got an email from 2018 and a man was like, hi, I've just found this email that you've sent us. We'd love your stuff. Can you send through some more of your work, and we'll like send it to the productions manager. And I was like, thank God they didn't listen to my music back then. And I've gone and done the work and evolved and progressed. And now the quality that I wished to meet that experience at is going to be more rewarding for me, rather than having had it then and there, even though that is my nature to think about something and be immediately frustrated that it's not here. But now I'm starting to have the wisdom to see, yeah, I need to wait. I need to see what's going to come through and what I can integrate and embody first.
Yeah, and it's having patience with our own process and evolution with that.
And by co-creating, it's like also the other humans involved in the experience that you're trying to bring forth might not be ready yet. Like you might be starting a business venture and it's like just not the time for everyone's highest good involved. And I forget that. I forget about everyone else's highest good.
we often joke about, like, because we're galactic beings in a physical body, that we're used to this instant manifestation, because when you're in non-physical form you can think something and you can manifest it instantly, and we come down here on this sort of denser earth plane where manifestation takes a little while longer, right? And then the frustration that kicks in, because we know on a soul level that we have the capacity to instantly manifest, but here it just takes a little bit of time to catch up. And I got this download the other day and I laughed to myself so hard, and I was like, yeah, for us, the frustration of being in a denser planet that is harder to manifest, but it's like, what about the procrastination that we put in our own path of not doing those things that we know are in our
We
highest?
already have.
Yeah, that would be the galactic's frustration with us, or our guides or whatever, because it's like they're those things that we know that we need to attend to in whatever capacity. And we just procrastinate and put it off. We're like, yeah, I'll just do this first, or I'll just do that first, where that thing in the middle is the most important thing. So it cracks me up when you look at it like that.
I love that.
So I'd like to, I know that you've been doing some really cool stuff with belief systems and recoding and reprogramming. So I'd love you to share what you've been with that little experiment.
That came out of nowhere. I'm really glad that came, when just like an inspiration comes to you and it's right, because every single cell of your body is jumping with excitement and you're like, this is it. This is the thing. You get like this, you're like, that's it. I've got to do this right now. And this is like the exact plan and it's got to be like this. So about 6 months ago, Will actually got me onto the concept. He was my partner. I had really bad memory recall of having anxiety attacks on the highway, or like when I was really sick, I would hallucinate. So I started hallucinating on the highway and the road caved in and I was it was so bad when I had dengue fever. And then it got really bad because I think innately I find it hard to go at 100 kilometers an hour. I find it hard to sit in a room sometimes because sometimes I'll just fall down because I'm dizzy. So like I think innately it was hard for me. But yeah, all of the memories of driving on the highway meant that I had some kind of PTSD, and I haven't driven on the highway in 2 years, which is like had really altered my life. So Will was like, hey, why don't we do this thing where essentially you bypass the conscious mind. So I'm pretty sure everyone would have heard about reprogramming your subconscious through subliminal messaging. So essentially the concept and idea is you take a recording of your own voice, which is going to be the best way to deliver messages to yourself, especially for me, because I can't have anyone telling me what the hell to do, even if it's slowed down backwards and incomprehensible to my conscious mind. I will have none of it. So he took a voice recording and he asked me to speak so essentially you speak your current limiting belief. So mine was, I am unsafe to drive on the highway, or a common one that I'm finding is like self-worth, or body image perception, or grounding, or safety, like I am unworthy, blah, 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 blah. So you take your current limiting belief, and then I take that audio file and then I reverse it. So I put it in reverse, and then I slow it down, slow it down, slow it down, and it actually ends up sounding like whales. So like in the back of the track, your unconscious, your subconscious is having that message relayed in reverse. And then I take your the belief that you wish to experience, and I ask you to say that in your current dynamic. So I'm completely safe to drive on the highway. I love driving, la 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 la, or like I am worthy of freaking everything. Like I now embody my soul's highest potentiality. And then I take that and I keep that forward in forward direction, and then I speed it up, speed it up, speed it up, speed it up until it ends up sounding like so it sounds like birds. So you've just got whale sounds and bird sounds, and then I smush it into like rain and nature sounds, and then I put it over a healing track, or I put it over piano Jane music. And essentially what's happening is you're just accessing and bypassing the conscious mind. So why that is great is because if I was saying into my voice, I love driving on the highway, every single time I'd be like, no, you don't, bitch. Like you do not. I know that you don't, because I'm me. So when I first listened to the track that we made for that, I was laying on the sound lounge and I literally saw the incidences where my first traumatic experience happened, and my life was going in reverse, and it rewound to the memory, and then it rewound the memory back, and it came to the moment where I was sitting there before it. So I saw the scene play out in reverse, and then I was like, oh, interesting. I have the power. It's like holographic kinetics, kind of. I now have the power to rewrite that timeline. So then I saw it playing forward, and I had angels in the car with me, all blah 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 blah. I ate a potato to ground myself, like, and I just drove on, being like, cool, this is great. So it's my kind of belief, and I'm not saying that will happen for everyone. I think that I was just really invested in it, but I think there is something so powerful about, I think it was Dr. Jeffrey Thompson. They were doing studies on the human heart, and if you play a healthy heart backwards, no, if you play an unhealthy heart backwards, you play the audio file of an unhealthy heart backwards, people with heart arrhythmias start to retune the heart. So there's something, yeah. And if they play the healthy heart backwards, it f's up your system. So there's something about the reversing of an audio file and then playing it back that actually inverse affects and retunes. So I fully have been testing this out with you and Jen and Zara. I think Joe said that she passed out. So I think like with your conscious intent, and obviously with the frequencies that, so if you have a self-worth issue or a grounding issue, I'm going to make it to the frequency of the bass. I'm going to use the bass ball. I'm going to channel that energy. But I think the combination of channeled energies for the individual, channeled messages, channeled frequencies, and then their own voice, reverse, and with the intentionality when you record it to be in the now vibration of the new experience, and you listen for 28 days, I 100% believe you can reprogram your, like, jump onto YouTube. There's lots of different people just listening to generic subliminals being like, I changed my life in 3 months of listening and I don't, and a blah, blah, blah. Like, I think it's really, really, really powerful. And I think that was guided by the feeling that I felt when the intuitive message came, and it was all I could do for that week was just buzzing on that idea. So I'm really excited to maybe offer that as a new service. Any way that I can offer my frequencies and sounds, and any way that it connects to the direct individual with their voice, like the healing power of the voice, it's just incredible. It's just my jam. So yeah, that's been really fun to play with. I've been doing mine for, and what I would say is like focusing on one aspect at a time. So like I wouldn't say re-encoding all of your limiting beliefs, but I think definitely setting that intention to listen to a track once a day and connecting to the now vibration of that experience is really fun. And like we said about the experiencing everything on the energy and on the astral level, like who's that guy, Tony Robbins? And he was like, I just embodied what I wanted to feel like. Like I think I'm starting to really understand the power of visualization as a real now experience. Like I think when I first got into meditation and manifestation, it was like it feels so far away to feel that, but when you just be it now,
Yeah,
you
and
just shift.
and I think we're in energies that are supporting those really fast shifting.
Do you think? I feel like it has to be, yeah, okay, because I feel like it's so fast at the moment.
And I think it is a combination of like inner self-work, work and worth
Yeah.
as well. I think it's a combination of those two things, because the more refining you're doing in your own energy practice and healing, then the more light filled you become, the quicker you can embody those frequencies and then work with those manifestation energies.
And
And
when you're on that roll as well, the rate and the exponential growth that you can have in one up moment, I would say, is fucking crazy.
it really is.
I feel great.
Oh my God, just I love hearing you talk about it. And like I've tried it out and it really, like I listened to it, I could feel it rewiring in my brain. Like it was so intensive.
Especially you could as well. Like when you, I think if you're like very psychically inclined, you can like you can feel the process, but it doesn't need to be that way. But
Yeah.
that's cool that you say that.
Yeah. And like everyone's experience is going to be unique and it's going to be perfect for them. I
Yeah.
just feel things a lot more intensely than the average person. And
And
so
it's
I could
interesting to see
feel it
how many people have
going.
the beliefs to rewire. Like it's interesting how many of us share such, it's so beautiful to see how we all share such a common thread narrative of what we're actually, what the core fundamental is. I feel like there's a cap on the planet where we've been just like zhuzhed into this one like skewy dark murky narrative. So it's like if you can just access the subconscious and rewire it,
Why not?
powerful stuff.
Incredibly powerful. And I'm so glad that you're in this space to be in this creational energy, and making just magic that's helping people, right down to very, cellular levels. Nothing gets my my joy, my excitement and joy levels skyrocketing. It's just like
I hope one day that I just get to like sit in a room and I want to have like a sound lounge factory where someone comes in and then I just like energetically read them. I get the download of what frequencies they need. I make a little soundtrack. We take their voice clip, we put it into the lounge, they go away, they reharmonize for exactly what they need with the power of their voice and transform. Like,
voila.
let's go, humans, Lego.
Well, I just put a new service up today. God, it's been so productive. It's just been, and that makes me wonder like what is coming, because it feels like all the ducks are being lined up in a row just to like the remastered tracks that you did, that they're all now available for download and
Did you
purchase
put them
on
all
my website.
up?
They're all there. Yeah. I did it last night. I was up
Go
till
and do
midnight.
the castle one. Go and do the castle one. What's it called? Golden Castle or something. Phenomenal.
And I do apologize. Like I'll put the link and you can go and have a look at those. But it was I recorded them back in I think
2017.
2017 when I was running live in-person group meditation classes.
I
And
think
they
that's why it's so healing. I think it's because you're doing it with a group and we're all gathering. I think it's a really important important current that you don't get when you're just sitting in front of a computer recording your meditations. There's something really different about it.
And I always wanted to, I mean, I've offered them to clients over the years and like cringed. I'm like, I'm sorry, there's background noise, there's people coughing. I recorded them live, but they're
It was pretty
really
bad.
great. I knew they were really great. Because I could see the people's experience in them, when I was facilitating them. And I really wanted to share that. And when that download came through, it was like, ask you to remaster them and, just clean them up a bit so that there isn't those harsh background noises. And I couldn't be more excited to have that, because there's a lot of encoded healing in them, in themselves. And for a small price, that's equivalent to, it's not a personalized healing session, but it's something that people can access and use multiple times. And it's kind of this feeling of being able to have a lot of things accessible for people at different ways that would feel comfortable for them, so that they can.
I do feel like it is like a personal healing though, because I think that I've done like 4 or 5. I listened to them all, but I ended up doing like 4 or 5 in one day. And I think that's really, I attribute who I am right now in this moment to having had done those 5 sessions and tailored it to my own experience, and committed to the experience and committed to the depths that I could go to it. And you come back really changed if you allow yourself to go to that depth. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, really crazy good.
It's something, but it's exciting to be able to, like, all this stuff is sort of like you were saying, the seeds that you planted like in 2018, and like it's all sort of coming back around now. And I think it's the timing of it, and just the people that you come in contact who can help facilitate that. So I'm eternally grateful for you in helping enhance the work that I do.
Ditto.
Which we should probably mention. We've got the 4/4 Sacred Heart transmission that's coming up this Easter Sunday at 4:44 p.m. Melbourne, Australian Eastern Standard Time.
And Brisbane time too.
And Brisbane time. So we'll be synced up on the same time zone for 6 months now. And that's a collaboration that we do with Jen from Infused with Light. And, a massive thank you to all the people who have been joining our monthly transmissions. There's such a powerful group process, and just the synergy of being able to go through the guided process and practice of energy clearing, and then having your music in the background, and obviously Jen infusing her light language and what she does. It really kind of gives that extra oomph to it. And and it's the collaborative effort, it's the people that join too, it's a real group effort. So looking forward to that one. I had the download of that one come out, and of course Hester, who does the artwork for these transmissions, her amazing artwork. So so that one will be on this upcoming Sunday, and based around really clearing the chambers of the heart and being able to embody more love frequency.
I just feel like when I feel into the energy of that, I feel like it's going to be emotional. I feel like I'm going in for a deep cleanse, like a hose with the car wash, where you just come out and you're like, oh, but then you're filled up with the light and the goodness.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, what do you see Sacred Heart as? Like, it has come to me at like 6 or 7 times where I felt the importance of the term Sacred Heart. I read it in a book and it really stopped me in my tracks. And I think when I was a kid, we went to a church called Sacred Heart. Not that I'm religious, but the energy, and someone was talking about the expression of someone's pure sacred heart, but it was a different portal of energy or a different expression. What do you see the Sacred Heart as?
I don't even really, I'll be honest, I don't really have a lot of terminology around it. It's a feeling, it's a sensation, it's a lot of visual imagery. It's different to the heart chakra, and it's high heart. It's more of a sacred passageway that holds fundamental pure love frequency that is And it kind of feel, and I think that the fact that we're doing it on Easter Sunday too, I'm not religious, but it feels like it's very tied into Christ consciousness energy as well. But it's the embodiment in the imagery that I've been getting for the transmission. And sometimes I get it in advance and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get
I
it like,
love when you don't and you're like
and I've just learned to roll with it because I know that it's set, and I've been guided to do it. But sometimes I don't even have the privy of what the journey is going to involve until 20 minutes before, sometimes not even, but it's kind of merging the different energetic bodies or layers of the heart, so that we can, obviously there's going to be clearing and purification around things that have obstructed being able to access such a sacred, pure heart energy. And this is not love frequency in romantic partnership, though it can overflow into that, but that it's a pure love energy of self and recognition of the divine that resides within each one, and it really is connected to the soul essence. So I guess that's
when I first read it, I thought of Christ consciousness, and I never really understood what that meant. But in the last year or so, I've really tapped into, like, I had a first experience of like Jesus like appeared, and I was like, dude, are you Jesus? Like, I remember I was doing a healing on a girl in the hospital, April. She was 4 and she had a throat cancer, and I was just toning and playing the bowl directly in, and he appeared behind her and he just got this like golden chalice and just started pouring it directly into the center of her tumor. And I was just like, and I just burst into tears, and I was like, oh my God, you're so real and so strong. And ever since then, I think I've had like a really different perspective of like Jesus as an ET, like Jesus as a, like, I think that I really had to remove the old layer of how I saw Christ.
yeah
And then when I start to channel Christ consciousness in the session, it's so nice. Like the becoming of Christ, it's like the higher consciousness. So that's really cool that that aligns with Sacred Heart, and that makes a lot of sense.
yeah like
We
the
need
way
more
that it just comes together to fall on Easter Sunday, and then the 444, like it just there's something really magical about it. And there's something really special for me in particular on that day. I had someone who was very close to me who passed away on 4 a couple of years ago in the middle of my dark night of the soul. And so I sort of, I feel that that person had a lot of Christ consciousness energy within him. And it's so funny because we did the 2-2 transmission. That was his birthday. And then, yeah, very, very special being. He came in, his birthday was on the 2-2,
and he
passed
left on 4.
at 33 years old. Yeah. So, I kind of, and I think in part of the process of doing these transmissions, we work and pull in all different frequencies and energies, and we do that as a collaborative effort, but then it's individual too. The people, like, I love hearing the feedback of the people's experience of what they experienced during those processes, and they're you know um really profoundly transformative in that. So, it just feels like such a gift and a blessing to be able to facilitate that process for people.
And to be able to go home with a group of people as well, like home. I think a lot of the time when I feel sick or stressed or sad or low vibrational, it's because I haven't had access to home. And I think having a group of humans who are conscious that this isn't the only reality, that there is more, I feel like truly I feel like all of the depression would be rid if we just went home a little bit more, So it is such a powerful space to
So
connect
glad
with.
you brought that up, because I've always seen it like that. The depression that we go through on a human level is really a disconnection to home or self or soul. It's just when we dip into those lower free, and they're necessary too. There's no judgment around that.
And you can't stay in the home vibrations all the time. I've been like, I hear my guides being like, hey, like, so nice that you're spending time with us up here, but you can't hang out the whole time.
It's funny because like I've been getting that message now for a little while that I have to integrate more, like go out more into society. And
Oh, really? Same into the real world,
the,
meeting with the real humans,
yeah.
talking to them at the shops.
It's like your cave days are done. You need to get out there and meet with the people. And I say this like because I can do that on days, and there's days where I'm too energetically sensitive and I try and keep my interactions to a minimum. So it's about knowing your own bandwidth at the time. And I think, when you're going through deep dive purges and dark nights of the soul, going out can really interfere with that process.
Be destructive.
It can be much more destructive. And I know when I was going through it, I had people trying to push me and force me, oh, just get out, you feel better. But I I knew intuitively I didn't want to, and I didn't feel up for it. I felt quite weak. I felt quite frail. And I did it because people wanted me to. And it felt like it pushed me back.
Mm,
I went against my better judgment,
mm,
um, if I'm really honest. And I did it to please other people. And it put me in a state of lower vibration, because in that in that state I was releasing so much, and I was also like a sponge of energy. So I go out into public and I would be absorbing other people's
mm.
stuff, and it was just more to process and move
And
through.
transmute, yeah. That's really hard. I think that's one of the hardest aspects of awakening is the realization of your level of sensitivity and your when all of your senses turn on at once, like your clairvoyance, your um, kinesthetic sense, all of your senses at once. Like Will and I would go to the grocery store and we'd come home and he'd be like, why can't we just go to the grocery store? And I'd be having a panic attack at the shops. Like I could see the vibration of the food. Like the days where you feel sensitive is where the days where the outside world is the most heinous. Like, and then there's days where you feel fantastic and like it's literally a different planet. I really feel like when I go out, I'm on an actual different dimension. I fully believe that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, because it's those days where you're in that higher vibration and you're in your, you know, embodiment, and it's like it
Mm,
changes the reality. Um,
mm,
so
it does.
100%. And I think they're the days that, to go outside, because then you're spreading and seeding the light everywhere you go, aren't you?
Mhm.
And every
Mhm.
interaction that you have is quite conscious and magical, or you might, have interactions with someone who aren't having the greatest time, and you can
And you
kind of,
trigger them.
yeah, and you can kind of meet them at a,
When I felt good and I'd had bad times and I felt good for a day, I used to, in Canada, I'd drive around and I'd pick up hitchhikers and I'd just take them exactly where they wanted to go. Like sometimes I drove all the way to Vancouver and they'd be like, thanks, crazy person. I'm like, have a great day. Or like I just like go and smile and wave at strangers at the lights and they'd be like, hi, cute girl.
oh my God, that reminds me. I used to go on these things of like random acts of kindness, and I would like go and buy Easter eggs, or I would go and buy flowers, and I would just randomly go and hand them out to people just to make their day. And it was like I used to go on this binge of like, I have to do 2 random acts of kindness, per day, or whatever. I used to go in these sort of phases, and I loved it. It's so beautiful when you're in that space and you can do that and really brighten and lift someone's day.
One of my favorite memories of a random act of kindness, I was traveling and it was like my 21st birthday and I was in London and I had to get to Brighton and all my money got stolen again. So someone they stole my money when I got to Iceland and someone scanned my card. So it was my birthday, the night before my birthday. I didn't have any money. So I didn't have any split. I didn't have a hotel to stay at. So I slept in a cafe with my backpack huddled. And then I woke up the next morning and I didn't have enough money for the train. So I went to the grocery store and I was like, I think I had enough for like a box of cereal. and I wanted cornflakes. So I went and I got a box of cornflakes. And when I got outside, I started eating them dry. And I opened the thing, and inside was a handmade letter. And they had cut out all of these letters from magazines and stuff. And it was literally this like personalized letter. And it's like, you are your light shines so bright in the sky, like this place would be nothing without you. This is a random letter just to say that you are worthy, you are loved, and I'm so glad you exist. And I remember I just broke down into tears, and I was like eating my cornflakes. This person doesn't even know the half of it. Like, so like, isn't that amazing? Like, imagine if we all, and that's what I wanted to talk about in the school, is like teaching, building up your light quotient and building up the good karma bank and building up that sense of like random little quirky cool things to wake people up, to get them out of this like, and like when people look back at you and realize that you've just smiled at them, they always turn around and be like, oh shit, sorry, I didn't realize, I haven't like looked at a human in a while, like I haven't smiled at a stranger in a few days, like of course I'm going to smile back. Like I think innately everyone wants to connect, and it's so beautiful when you realize innately they want to connect. They're just a bit like, who are you?
You know what I used to do? And I used to see homeless people when I used to work in the city. I used to see homeless people. I would either invite them for coffee and breakfast, or I remember I did this so many times. I would sit down and I would be having my lunch break, and I would be watching like homeless guy, and I would kind of like energetically read his energy in what he needed to know. And I'd write him this long channeled message, and then I'd wrap it up with a $2 coin, and then I'd go give it to
Channeled messages are so much better. Like channeled messages are, that's amazing. I'd love to just be sitting on a bench, someone gives me a channeled message. That's probably their language too. Random acts of kindness, bring it back.
Yeah, bring it back, definitely. And you know what? Nothing can shift your vibration more than doing something for someone else and being in service. It puts you
You know
straight back
what?
in that space.
I'm gonna run. I was thinking about running a competition. I've teamed up with my friend who does bath salts and sage, and she does space clearing. And I was about to run a competition of because I've just finished my chakra series for the sound healing tracks. So I think I'm gonna run a giveaway of the bundle and the tracks for. I'm gonna run a random acts of kindness competition, and whoever writes the best story of their random act of kindness will win the tracks, a session with me, and the space clearing pack.
Let's do that.
Cool.
I'll even throw
Let's
something
do it.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Best story of the most random act of kindness.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Let's start the movement. I'll do a hashtag.
Start it. You know, I had this download of talking about movements. You'll have to set
Your
that
forte.
up, share that, so keep an eye out for that, everyone.
Done.
But I had this download years ago of creating like a positive movement where I was coming out of my dark night of the soul, and I was trying to find things that I could do that would shift and help me move my vibration. And I got this download that like I should personally record 5 videos each day for 5 days. It was something like 5 because 5 is the number of change.
Change,
So
yeah.
5 personalized videos, no more than 5 minutes, to 5 people in my life, whether I have someone that I am in contact with or haven't been for a long time, just intuitively pick and record a message to them, telling them how much they have made a positive impact in my life and all the things that I'm grateful for about them. And so I started doing that, and then it was like the thing was that then that person would have to then go and do 5, of their people. And I was like, could you imagine what would happen if like that caught on and like everyone in the world was like receiving these messages of like, just how people, because people are so quick, in our society, maybe not our reality, but I'm talking generalized, people are very quick to judge and hate and tell you what you're doing wrong. But how often people stop and take the time to share, you know, what they admire about you, or how you inspire them, or what you're grateful
Mm.
about them. You know, it's like shifting and throwing that on its head, really.
And especially people that you haven't spoken to forever. Like, I think if I were to get a message from someone I lived with in like Canada or England, and if they sent that to me, especially at a time like now when we're so distant and I don't see people in real life, to have that reflection, and especially as we said at the beginning of the video, when you forget all of the phases that you've been through and someone contacts you and speaks to that other version of yourself, and it really embodies that. And going through your own contacts, and I reached out to a friend from high school the other day after 10 years, and it was such a nice interaction, and it's led to this symbiosis of our business skills. And it's like, oh yeah, like, you don't just throw out all these people forever. Like, it cycles round, and you can be like, hello, person I don't really know that well, what's going on, fellow human on the planet? You know, let's do that.
Yeah. We're going to start all these movements. See, this is what happened. This is why I want to sit down to the recording, because not only have we been busy in our own little corners doing, you know, a lot of projects and a lot of work, but it's like through these conversations, we never know what's going to come out and what is going to spark. And I hope, all I can hope is that perhaps watching this video has sparked something in you, and a movement that you've wanted to get off the ground, or some random act of kindness, or, you know, something that you wanted to take the plunge with. So
The Great Reset.
the Great Reset. Yeah, I'm going to
I feel
call
like it's a
video.
reset.
Yeah, I'm going to call this video The Great Reset.
The Great Reset. I'm excited to see what people are going to do for random acts of kindness. Go big.
Yeah.
Bigger you go, bigger the goods in return. I want some weird shit. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too.
Thanks so much for sharing with me.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Katie. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Announcement to the humans, go and do a meditation that is now on the website if you're feeling funky at all. There's so many to choose from, and if you connect with them, and if you truly want to transform, there is the energy there to access, and it's really transformative, and it's really helped me a lot. I feel so much better.
Thank you, Katie. And likewise, I'll put all the details down in the description box below, where you can connect with Katie and book a session, and all the amazing different things that she offers on her website.
Oh, Subliminal, I'll put it up on the website.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
subliminal track.
Yeah, if anyone wants any limiting belief restructured, I'm really vibing that at the moment, and it's an easy process. We just connect and talk about it. You take a voice reading on your phone, and then I'll make you like 3 or 4 tracks that you can listen to at night or in the daytime.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So all the details, so shoes, jewelry, meditations, sessions, transmission, whatever feels in resonance for you, it's all there. Go and have a look. Thank you so much for joining with us in this conversation. I hope that we, you know, get to share many more of these, and you know, share our work, our love for humanity, but also our humanness too. You know, and I think that's you know, that's important too. So thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful Easter, and just sending massive love to everyone.